Hi everyone, this is my round 4 game for Manchester Congress. So this is the Sunday now. Can't quite find the score sheet in my round 3 game, but for those who want to know the result, it was a draw in the end against the 142 ECF. I'll do a video if I can somehow find the score sheet, but it might be difficult. But anyway, this means I'm on 1.5 out of 3, which puts me basically out of contention for main prizes, but I was never expected to win anything in this section anyway, being under 165, and I just struggled in a major previous weekend, so 1.5 out of 3 was a good solid start, and I've got a draw against the 142 as black in the previous round, which is quite a lucky draw, but we'll see if I do the video. But moving on to round 4, this was me versus Ian Lamb, 130 ECF. This was an interesting match because he likes his Facebook wall posts, and I usually get a lot of them where like he'll get a Grandmaster game and then he'll post you saying, I don't know, Queen C2 Nimzo-Indian goes down to him, what do you think? And does it to a few people as well. It's pretty cool and he likes it. And I was both there when the draw was made, and thought I might be doing some prep against me because he's like that, but it turns out he seemed to have gone the pub instead. Whereas I actually did do a bit of prep because I was sick of being out of book early every single game in this tournament. And nice to rattle a few moves out because it was 30-second increment. I thought it'd be nice to get my clock up to like 1:22 or something, which I did, which is pretty cool before it soon dropped down to the minutes and seconds, which is where you drop below 20 minutes. But anyway, I could do a win in this. I'm white against a low rated, but I knew that Ian's knowledge of the game is about 160, 170 level. Just has a few problems like time pressure and stuff like that, and sometimes taking draws too easily. Whereas I don't have near as much knowledge or depth of the game as he does, despite the higher grade. I used to have had better results, and also I was 17 at the time. I'm now 18, but I was 17 when the grades came out, so I got like a bonus like 7 or 8 points or something. And I was also getting my points from minors as well, whereas he was getting them from majors. So he's probably actually the slight favourite for this game, I think. But me being white cancels it out, so it's mutual chances. But anyway, I'd always wanted to play an over board for my Facebook chats. So here's the game anyway. And he walked into my prep, but of course we're going to see the Lenningrad Nimzo-Indian again from same as my game against Lee Barron. And we're going to see him play it like the proper way, where you don't block the c-pawn with knight and try and hack him up. You play solidly and try and neutralise white's bishop pair. Just have a sip of apple tango. Anyway, here we go. I was white and opened with d4. He played the opening I expected, which is a Nimzo-Indian, but he can vary. So we've got these moves again. Black fighting over the e4 square, and I played bishop g5, which he'd been dismissing as rubbish a lot. Oh, not great. So I thought I'd try and beat him with it, which I'd shut him up if I won. So he plays h6, and after bishop h4 he plays c5, d5, and now d6. And after e3, e5, and this is the main line of the Lenningrad, where black's going to like block up the centre, and then he'll give his bishop up for the knight soon, inflicting weak double pawns on white. And white's bishop pair won't mean much because it's all blocked up, and also because the pawns are on dark squares, black's light square bishop will be good. So white has this dodgy bishop on h4, but white will have a lot more space, so chances are about equal, I'd say. So I played f3. She's carrying on the main line, and now he plays knight bd7, which is the first. I think this is a book move, but it's not like the first like main book move. I think the main move is to take on c3 straight away. I mean, usually you should wait for a3, but if he's not careful, I can go knight e2 and support the knight, as we're going to see, and then I don't get double pawns. So after b takes c3, and then bishop f5, and then provoking e4, and then bishop h7, with a position where white's. In fact, white's so when I said before white the h4 bishop's bad, sorry I meant the f1 bishop's going to be bad. You see that bishop's card to get into game, it's going to have to go like bishop d3, c2, a4. But black's also bishop is hemmed in, and white's maybe got chances for an advantage here, but I don't think much of this position. Just a complicated struggle. But he plays knight bd7, and after queen c2, b6. An interesting option is to sack a pawn in Benko style, because you see in a lot of d4 knight f6 openings, like a lot of pawn stacks with b5, like the Benko gambit. where black gets really good queenside pressure in return for the pawn. And a good one seems to be here with b5. And after c takes b5, a6, b takes a6, and then to castle. And black's going to play bishop takes a6, queen a5, etc. with strong pressure on the queen side in return for the pawn. Also, if the pin's ever broke, then knight takes d5 is a threat. And black's probably got just about enough comp there. But he plays b6, preparing an extended finish at on a6, which is a very common theme in Nimzo-Indian positions, pressuring the c4 point. And now I'm practically out of book here, and now I start to back up some long thinks, and he does as well. We both go from like having more time than we started off with to like less than 20 minutes in about 7 moves. And it's not even the most complicated position, but we just both like a good think. So after bishop d3, bishop a6 was played, which I actually think that he should take on c3 now. Because if I take with the pawn and doubled, but if I take with the queen, I've like lost the move with queen, you see. And then I think he should play bishop b7 now with mutual chances. Black's actually development's a lot better in this position, in fact, so maybe it's probably equal, maybe even black could try for an advantage. But I was actually looking with a computer, an interesting line, but it isn't that great. It is e4, and the point being, if f takes e4, then black can take advantage of the queen's unprotected, so the queen's vulnerable position on c3 with knight takes e4. But now comes a series of exchanges. Now bishop h4, and we see now that black's knight is practically trapped after knight a4, b3, knight b2, and his knight can actually be rounded up, and black has to like can get a couple of pawns through it, but the reality is that white's probably going to put a piece up for 2 pawns here, with a little compensation for black, so that's not to be recommended, but it's worth a look at. And we probably both didn't see it during the game. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he had actually within like 15-20 minute thinks he was having after every move. So I played bishop. So he played bishop a6, a logical move. But now after knight ge2, I can take it with a knight if necessary now. Now he plays g5, attacking the bishop. And I went bishop f2. Bishop g3 is giving us slightly better. Bishop f2 is a slight advantage to white, but bishop g3 is actually a decent advantage to white. I'm not entirely sure why. In fact, I think the bishop's better on f2, protecting e3. But I suppose there must be some hidden idea. So now he finally takes on c3, and after knight takes c3, he's go back. In fact, an interesting move here is e4. In fact, this is one given one of the best moves, a positional pawn sacrifice. I mean, you don't see much of a sacrificer, but this looks like a good one. Because first of all, take it with bishop is nonsense, because then c4 just drops off. And if I take with the pawn, after knight e5, you see the e5 square is opened up. And now black's knights are very strong now. My bishop is completely hemmed in, and I've got double pawns, giving black some good compensation for the pawn. Although I don't quite think it's enough, but it's better than game continuation anyway. So after bishop takes c3, knight takes c3. White's got a decent position with a good space advantage, and a potentially powerful bishop pair if I can ever open the position up. And I haven't even got double pawns. And black's a6 bishop is out of place. Alright, it's tying my bishop down a bit, but I can always play b3 if necessary. And now he plays queen c8, which is a common move in these Lenningrad blocked up positions, where black doesn't really need to castle, but his king could do with being safe. So a good safe spot for the king in this line is to move it to c7 via d8. And c7 is moving the queen, and also c8 is a good square for black queen in this line. Now I have to finish my development. His king d8 c7 manoeuvre is going to finish here, so I need to finish mine. I decided that I can have castle short or castle long. I thought I was worried about castle short because his pawns have advanced a bit and he could maybe play g4, but after castles it's perfectly fine. In fact, the best move game is to continue with his plan of king d8. Sorry, he shouldn't really play king b8 because of queen a4 becomes strong, trying to infiltrate into c6 and putting pressure on his bishop. So he should just play something like queen b7 first, covering c6, and then do his manoeuvre with a small advantage to white. But I decided to castle long. It looked safer. And my king, although the pawns have moved in here, is actually really safe because it's all blocked up. Could have left it in centre perhaps, but I decided to castle long. Now he plays king d8, continue with his plan, and I played h4, trying to rip open the h line. But queen a4 is a strong move in this position. Try to come into c6, and let's say king c7, then we have queen c6 check, king d8, bishop f5, and now bishop takes c4, queen takes d6, like threatening queen takes threatening bishop takes d7 and queen takes f6 and all sorts of nasties. Black's in big trouble. After queen a4 he should play queen b7 covering it, and now I could play h4, but this is quite similar to the game in fact. Just another way of getting to it. So I play h4, and it'd be unwise to take because then I'd open the h line up with great effect. So he plays king c7. Also interesting is to push with g4, which comes next turn. And now I decided he's got a massive hole on f5, which has been weakened by e5 and g5, like permanently weakened. There's practically no way to defend it because the bishop's never going to get there. So I decided I'll reroute my c3 knight to a better square by putting it there. So anyway, I played knight e2, of course, playing knight g3 to f5, and the knight is very strong and puts pressure on d6, which is also a backward pawn and can't be taken. Also, I think a better decision in this position may have been to take on g5, and after h takes g5, black actually loses a move here from when he played queen c8, because I can drive his queen to h8, and now it's far away from his king, and I can go queen a4, which forces knight b8, and now bishop f5. I think I missed a bit of a chance here because now white's starting to get a dangerous initiative. Although there isn't anything clear cut, but you'd rather white in this position with black's queen being like out of play, and white's queen and bishop and knight all suddenly pointing menacingly at the black king. So maybe I missed a chance there. Too busy concerned with my f5 outpost. So knight e2, and now he goes g4. And now there is another e4 pawn sack here. There's quite a few e4 pawn sacks to clear the e5 square for the knight, which puts more pressure on c4 and it's a strong outpost. And if f takes e4, then knight g4 is very strong. See all this pressure coming on my position is coming under all of a sudden. If bishop takes e4, then knight takes e4, queen takes e4, rook e8, queen c2, and now g4. And black's starting to get some initiative in return for the pawn with like knight e5 coming next. So if takes knight e5, forking both pawns. And black can actually get a bit of an initiative here if I'm not careful. So that maybe was a good practical decision. You see black's a bit short of space in this position, so he goes g4 to try and get some more. And now I ignored it and played knight g3, continuing my plan of coming into f5. And after queen e8, bit of a wasted move, not sure what that's all about. I play rook h e1. Just getting my last piece into the game. And I decided the h file is not going to open anymore, so I can just move the rook away. Also possible was the consolidated move king b1, which is when you castle long, by the way, a lot of time, and this big king b8 is black, you move the king forward to the knight square. It's more safe then. Gets it more out of the firing line, because it's more risky to castle long. Although this position it's not really that risky because it's hard for either side to attack, although black's e4 pawn sacks, which we actually never played, but they could be dangerous. So rook h e1, and now he actually moves his queen to f8 after another long think. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. Must be some hidden idea that maybe, because he has a YouTube, he could explain in the comments when he's seen this video. By the way, Ian, when you're watching, it'd be nice for you to leave some comments in the sections, what you thought of the video, any analysis you've got from looking at the game yourself. Anyway, g takes f3, g takes f3, e4, knight takes e4, knight takes, bishop takes, knight e5. And this is similar to the last line, but it's a slightly worse version because black's queen's in a bit of a dodgy place where the rook can't come to e8, so black's comp isn't as much here, although still is a bit, but I don't really think there's enough here. Maybe white's just a pawn up. But it was interesting because after the latest tempo loss, knight f5, white's knight is incredibly strong, more powerful than both of black's puts together, and black's bishop is awful as well. And although white's bishop on d3 is bad, it's supporting the c4 pawn, which makes black's a6 bishop bad, and is also defending the knight and making it really strong. So he plays rook e8, so I presume he wanted to put the rook on e8 to maybe force through e4 at some point, or make me play e4, which would lock my queen and bishop completely out of the game, so it'd be a bit of a positional blunder. So maybe that was his plan, and he saw it move too late, so he went queen e8 and queen f8, and this doesn't really matter a mega amount. I mean, it's still a waste of time, but in block positions, loss of tempo doesn't matter as much. In like wide open tactical positions, or opposite side castling, and losing the tempo is like bad, but this is like almost same side castling, because black technically has castle queen side when you think about it, because it's like artificial castled. Anyway, let's have a look. E4 actually, which I said was a blunder, actually isn't much of a blunder. It's given a decent move by Houdini. I just don't really like it now, but say bishop b7, trying to recycle the bishop, which has practically no role in this game. King b1, g takes, knight h5, coming into the hole on f4, and now bishop e3, stopping it coming in and applying some pressure to h6. And white's better here with a big space advantage. I mean, look at black's pieces; they can like hardly move at all. But I want to say white's got a massive space advantage, but you'd rather be white. Yeah, that's for sure. So I played bishop g3, and I think I had an idea was to try and just put some pressure to e5, or maybe play f4 at some point, but that can was met by e4, so it wouldn't be that great in fact. But I'm fancy trying to open the position up because I've got a big space advantage and I've got the bishop pair, so it'd be nice to try and exploit it by trying to get at black's king. Now he plays h5, just supporting his g4 pawn and moving the pawn from that vulnerable square where it's under pressure from various pieces it can come under. And now I play queen a4, a move which I probably should have played quite a few moves ago. The point being is that I'm threatening infiltration on c6, followed by knight takes d6, which will be immediately crushing. I'm also attacking his bishop, and he has two ways to defend against this. He was starting to get a bit short of time, so he actually played knight b8 quite quickly, which is always a passive move. It does it kills two birds with one stone by stopping the queen coming in and also protecting the bishop. But maybe if he fought for a bit, he could have seen bishop b7, which gets the bishop from that vulnerable spot, so the knight doesn't have to protect it, and the a7 pawn's immune because of course I just lose my queen to rook a8. And to be honest, even if I didn't lose my queen, it'd be I'd get my queen skewed to a2 pawn, and then my king could come under a bit of fire, so it'd be unwise. So anyway, so bishop b7 would have been better, but knight b8 is not going to lose the game. But in fact, I might be wrong, because the engine all of a sudden at this point came a 2-point advantage to me. I mean, have a look at this position. You think I actually thought I was slightly worse in this position at the time, because I used to really thought that I've got two bishops to black's one, but black's got two knights to my one knight. But it's a blocked up position, so sure his knights are better. But look at that knight on b8. I mean, it's almost stuck defending c6 and a6, and his a6 bishop's passive. My f5 knight is absolutely beautiful. It's better than both his knights put together. For a start, at least both his knights are actually cramping him, because f6 seems to be like the only good square, but that can only be taken by one knight. His rooks are all both doing nothing. His queen's doing nothing. Like all his pieces are practically doing nothing in this position. My only problem is that it's all like completely blocked up. So how am I supposed to get pieces to like win material or deliver an attack? Because despite his passivity, black's very solid. He's got no weaknesses. Like the d6 pawn's backward, but how am I supposed to exploit it with his pawn and e5 blunting the scope of my bishop? His h5 and g4 pawns are hard to get at. His f7 pawn is hard to get at. Every pawn's like really hard to get at. So in even a7, if I ever take it, I lose my queen. So black's basically very passive but very solid. I've got a beautiful knight on f5, an active queen on a4, a safe king. I've got a very solid position as well, but with activity. But the thing is, in this position, I've got one pawn break. It opens my king up a bit, but his piece is that passive. How is it supposed to exploit it? And now was the chance. I should have gone b4, exclamation mark. And white all of a sudden can actually get a very strong position, because I need to like make the most of these advantages I've got of the space advantage, which although the permanent advantages need to be taken advantage of. So let's see. His best is just to ignore it and play something like rook g8, like a nothing move, and then I can go rook d2, build my position up even further by say bringing the rooks into the game, and then maybe taking on c5 at an opportune moment, and white can actually build up his position and take advantage, because It don't matter his king being exposed because black's pieces are passive. I mean, his queen ain't got a single square in this position, for example. I mean, you'd rather white in this position, that's for sure. But let's have a look what happens if he does take the pawn. Now c takes b4. I hadn't really looked. I just thought queen takes b4 and there's no follow up if he does take, except I'm putting a bit of pressure on d6. But and also I was in unambitious mode. So I just got my current girlfriend the night before, you see, and we were both playing this tournament, and I had spent a bit of time with her, so I was in like unambitious quick draw mode a bit this morning. I didn't really want to make an ambitious attempt to win it, and I also knew that Ian was a solid player, so if I overstretched I'd probably get hit on the counter attack or lose. I was in a bit chicken mode, to be honest, so I didn't play this. But a strong move here is c5, and all of a sudden I'm threatening to take a pawn with check, but also there's two pieces all of a sudden on black's a6 bishop, and the best seems to be to let it drop, because say b takes c5, bishop takes a6, and say knight takes d5, then c takes d6 check, king d8, rook d2, rather than taking the bishop, just coming in with rook. And black's in massive trouble here. In fact, there's an advantage of about 5 pawns from computer. So going back, black should just ignore b4, and then white can just keep building his position up, and white's massive space advantage should eventually winning the game, but it will be a long process because black's position is a tough nut to crack. And if I was made something wrong and I could allow black some activity via like some dangerous pawn stack or something, and then my king could get caught up. But there's not much danger in white in losing this position. It's mainly black that's going to have to do all the defending, and I'd be happy to play it. But instead, in quick draw mode, I played king b1. I felt like offering a draw, but I thought before offering it, I'd make it feel like unambitious moves that signals my intent for a draw. So he plays rook d8, and now I just drop the bishop back to c2. By the way, with these, with that move rook d8, the sting actually gets taken out of b4. Like, it's not even given the top move anymore. I'm not sure what. I think it's something to do with d6 being protected more. Like, d6 is now protected 3 times, because in the d6 is really vulnerable in the last line, so that might be why. So bishop c2, and now he moves his king to b7, which protects the bishop again and frees up knight d7. And most of my advantages actually evaporate with these unambitious moves. I've gone from 2 points to about 0.8, and now I played bishop h2 and offered a draw with it after just 24 moves as white gets low rated. Because I was just unambitious, I was a bit buzzing from the previous night, so that's probably why. And he took it after a few seconds thought. It was both short time. It was getting increments, but he had about 5 minutes left, and I had about 8 minutes. Maybe that's how slow he played. Like the games nearby, say our girlfriend's game for example, they finished about more than an hour before us, and their game was like 30 odd, 40 odd moves. So she had to like wait around for ages. I'm so sure she wasn't happy about it. And probably wanted me to offer a draw, and I did on this 24th move. Take a look at the final position. My advantage probably comes from my monster knight and f5, but that's about it. There's no like good pawn breaks, and this would be very hard to win. Like, you look at someone like Kramnik to win this, or Anand or Karpov in his heyday, and draw's probably a fair result from this position. And I thought after the game this was just a bit of enough. And I actually liked something in this game, because I thought after it this was just a nothing quick draw where it was about equal all the way through. Both sides played solidly, but I've only really appreciated from looking through this game that white actually has a massive space advantage. I mean, most of white's pieces are good and 100 times better than the black counterparts. It's just black's solid position was too hard to crack for me, and I thought it was worse in this position overboard. I was actually worried he wouldn't accept the draw, amazingly enough. So sip. Because I just really looked at that black's got 2 knights in a close position to my 1 knight, and I've got dodgy bishops, but the seated bishop is really strong. And look at that knight, I mean, that's just beauty. And his queen hasn't got like any squares or anything. Just to see if he'd have played on it and offered a draw. I mean, he probably would have offered one soon. Yeah, I'm not sure what he would have played. Maybe queen e8 to offer a queen swap or something, which would practically kill the game. But I think he put me on 2 out of 4. I needed to win last game against a 1-2-6 to get like a plus performance in the tournament, or break about even. A draw or loss would wreck my grade even further. from the damage that he undertook at Leyland. I was slightly behind after this game, drawing against low rated. Because my draw against high rated, there was only 1 point higher, you see, and I'd like won against low rated and lost to someone on like slight high rated, so I was losing about quite a few I was losing about 5 points or something. So I'll do my got club tonight, so I might do the round 5 game afterwards if I've got time, but I'll probably need quite a long video because it's very aggressive and tactical, a lot more than this game anyway, that's for sure. As for you viewers, I hope you've enjoyed watching my round 4 game. It might seem like a dull game this, but you can learn a lot from this game, like how a position that looks completely drawn might not be for a surprise pawn break or something. And there's all games can have some interesting with them, even Petrov games do at times, amazingly enough, which you might find it hard to believe. And by the way, please check out the cafe on Chess Cube. Ian actually is a moderator in there, amazingly enough. So you might get to meet him as well, the other guy, the guy I played in this game, and also known as sometimes Mr. Facebook Addicts. He likes these wall posts, but you learn a lot from the chess club via them, so it's pretty good. So please join my cafe on Chess Cube, which is Epic Chess. There you can meet me and discuss my videos and have a good little chat with me. I'm always happy to talk to anyone, even if they're white, black, Asian, etc. Doesn't matter, I will talk to you. And for now, quite a long video this to say the game's short and supposed to be dull, but I hope you've enjoyed it and took something from it. Please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.